everyone, Stephanie here, coffee drinker, book lover, and reviewer of many things, and today I've got a book review for you. I've decided I'm just not gonna use lids for these unless I need to. I did finally find them. Just too much work. I have to clean them afterwards, and okay. So today's book review is Nothing to See Here by Kevin Wilson. Okay, okay. Um, Before I tell you my feelings of this book, I'm going to read you the summary. I'm going to tell you all the stuff that Audible has to say about it. I actually listened to this book using Libby, which is through the library. But you can get this book in book form and in Audible form, audio. I believe you can get it on Kindle also. Okay, so on Audible, it says that this book was 6 hours and 40 minutes long. It has a 4.5 star rating on Audible and a 4.0 rating on Goodreads. I'm going to read the summary. A 2020 Audie winner, Best Female Narrator. The narrator was Marin Ireland. Marin Ireland. I I'm not good with names. Um let's see, in a read today with Jenna, Today Show, book club pick, all of that. Okay, why is that under summary? I don't know. Okay, I can't believe how good this book. This is a review. That shouldn't. I feel like review shouldn't be under summaries either. Okay. Kevin Wilson's best book yet. A moving and uproarious. I've never used that word before. Novel about a woman who finds meaning to her in her life when she begins caring for two children with remarkable and disturbing abilities. Lillian and Madison were unlikely roommates and yet inseparable friends at their elite boarding school. But then Lillian had to leave school unexpectedly in the wake of a scandal. They've barely spoken since, until now, when Lillian gets a letter from Madison pleading for her help. Madison's twin stepkids are moving in with her family, and she wants Lillian to be their caretaker. However, there's a catch. The the twins spontaneously combust when they get agitated. Flames ignite from their skin in a startling but beautiful way. Lillian is convinced Madison is pulling her leg, but it's the truth. Thinking of her dead end life at home, the life that is constantly disappointed her, Lillian figures she has nothing to lose. Over the course of one humid, demanding summer, Lillian and the twins learn to trust each other, to stay cool while they stay out of the way of Madison's buttoned up politician husband. Surprised by her own ingenuity, yet unused to unused unused to hmm, unused to the intense feeling of protectiveness she feels for these kids. Lillian ultimately begins to accept that she needs these strange children as much as they need her, urgently and fiercely. Couldn't this be the start of an amazing life she'd always hoped for? With white hot wit and big tender heart, Kevin Wilson has written the best book yet. A most unusual story of parental love. Okay, so this was a pretty good book. I'm not gonna lie. I I did have an issue with the book, but I definitely recommend this book. This was a good book, and it had some funny parts and it had some sad parts, and oh my gosh, I do need to tell you that there's some trigger warnings in this book. They the the twins were with their mom when she died, and it's okay. It's suicide, but she tries to take the kids with her. It's very the girl twin, she is telling Madison, and she has to get like she's never told anyone this, and she just has to get it off her chest, and she just tells it dry how it happened, but it made me tear up. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is terrible." Like, heartbreaking terrible. Um, so that there's your trigger warning. If you think all politicians are scum, um, this might open your eyes to how some of them are being controlled. Uh, you'll have to read the book to find that out. Okay. All right. So, on to my little book. I love I didn't think okay, so like I like writing, but I never liked doing like book reports and stuff, and this is like a step down from book reports. But sometimes I just want to keep writing. So nothing to see here. Kevin Wilson is the author. Um, the genre, I kept finding that it's literary fiction, so take that as you will. Because I listened to it, it was published by Harper Audio. Oh, I said I listened to this on Libby. Yeah, okay. It is 6 hours and 40 minutes long, or 227 page, or 272 pages. I started this book April 4th and ended April 11th. That's 2025, guys. We're in 2025. Why did I choose this book? Because it was on my 2025 reading challenge. It was recommended, and I thought the cover looked really funny. Do you see the cover? I was like, what is this book about? So I had to put it on my list. I gave this 3.5 books, maybe 4 books. I'm still on the fence about it. I gave it 3.5, or I gave it 3.5 on Storygraph, but I might go back and change it later because I do keep thinking about this book. This was a pretty like, do I recommend this book? Yeah. Other books that Kevin Wilson have written is Run for the Hills, Perfect Little World, Tunneling to the Center of the Earth, Now is Not the Time to Panic, The Family Fang, and Baby You're Gonna Be Mine. Okay. On to my review. This is what I wrote in the heat of the moment. The kids catch fire? I thought it was a joke. I liked this book a lot, okay, but I felt like our narrator, our main character, was telling this story to someone, and now I need to know who he's talking to. And why does it sound like the kids are no longer with her? The relationship between Lily and Madison is kind of sad. You can tell they both care and love each other very much. But Madison is only thinking about power, aka why she's with her husband, who I think he's a senator or something, and he gets sworn in to be like not too far below the president, something like that. Um, where was I? Oh, I feel like they could have just ran off together and it could have been the 3 kids and Lillian and Madison, and they could have been happy. They had enough money. They had money. And Jasper sucks. I don't know why I put that, but other than Jasper is Madison's husband, the father of the kids. So he was married to the twins' mom, and then apparently when the twins started catching fire, he started not coming home and seeing other people, and the twins and their mom moved out. And he started seeing someone that he worked with, like he in his campaign group. And then Madison was like, "Oh, let me help you, go about this the right way." And then she was who he was with. Um, and when he first meets the twins after I don't know how long, because I think they lived with him until they were 3 or 4, like they were toddlers. You find out that the first time that they catch fire in front of, the catch fire is the little girl goes and asks for a sandwich because she's really hungry, and the dad, Jasper is like, "No, dinner's going to be in a few hours." And she's like, "I'm hungry." And she into flames. And then after that they didn't live there anymore. Um But the first time he sees them after he's been away from them for either 10, so 6 years ish, 7 years, I don't know. Um, he is, like, putting on it, you can tell it's, like, really, like he's like, "I've missed you so much, and I just want you to be happy here, and I just want you to call me dad and let me hug you," and, like and then, oh, I remember why I wrote this now. It's a spoiler. Um, I'll tell you after I'm finished with my review. Mary was my favorite character. She was the cook. She was the one that so she knew about the kids catching fire. She was there. She was the cook then. And she made her a sandwich and gave it to her after Jasper left. I was like, but she was like understanding, but had this attitude like, "Go ahead, try to mess with me." I loved it. And then Carl was like a bodyguard slash babysitter slash go and getter slash I don't know, research person. he was way overused, okay? Like, if what is his job? What is his job? Okay? And, but I put Carl was doing his best while trying to do the best at his job. But in the end, he was a nice person. He did the right I think for his own soul, he did the right thing. And, yeah, uh, he he was a good guy. The end was bittersweet, and I hope that they lived happily ever after. That's what I wrote. That's it. Also my little quote, my book quote over here. I don't know if you can see it. No. It says, "If one cannot enjoy reading a book over and over again, there is no use in reading it at all." Oscar Wilde. So that is from my little book lover's journal. Now I get to go on to the spoily bits and all of that stuff. So when this book starts out, um, you find out that Lillian and Madison have been writing since high school. And you know that that something big happened between them but they don't talk about it. They've never talked about it. Um and when she starts remembering when she's on her way to see Madison, she has sort of like a flashback scene. And you find out that Lillian, I mean, Madison had a bit of a problem. My kid drew me a circle. Had a bit of a problem with with drugs. And um when she gets caught, they're the school weirdos, okay? Let me back up. They're the school weirdos. They have problems keeping things to themselves, and they say things that they think is funny, or they kind of have that tone that people are like, are you mocking me? Or, they're the weirdos, and no one really understands them, but Madison is a rich kid, and she gets involved with rich kid stuff. Not all rich kid stuff, this not all rich kids are like that, but this is specifically uh, specifically what she gets into. And it was kind of a cliche. I was like, okay. Well then her dad is coming up. Her dad comes up because the school has called him and like, hey, we need to have a sit down. And so while dad is there, he takes Madison and Lily out to eat. And then Lillian's mom shows up and he's like, yes. And he immediately, like, starts giving mom drinks. And at first, even Lillian is like, he hitting on my mom? Ew. But, like, she doesn't say that loud. And then what it comes down to is Madison's dad is like, well, I can pay you because it won't look as bad if Lillian has a problem. Usually they don't even kick, you know, those, the special kids out, but Madison will get kicked out because she's a rich kid and all of this stuff. And he's like, I'll pay you handsomely. And the money can go towards another school for Lillian. And so mom accepts. Doesn't even talk to Lillian about it, even though Lily like, worked really hard to get into the school on a scholarship, like, straight A's in her normal school, and she's only been at this school for, like, a year, the private school for, like, a year, and her and Madison were so close, like, they used to, like, share a bed sometimes. They obviously were in love back then. I'm just saying. And so for Lillian is like, I cannot say no to Madison. I just can't. But whenever she gets there and Madison is like, "Oh yeah, he has these other kids and blah blah blah, and I just need someone to take care of them." And she's like, "Okay, what's wrong with them?" "Oh no, nothing is wrong with them. What's wrong with them?" And she's like, after they eat some tea sandwiches and drink some tea, um, she's like, "Okay." And Lillian is like, "Oh, good. We already have the house over there set up for you, but you can stay here tonight." And she has a 3-year-old, and he is a very, like, old soul kind of kid. Like, he sits very proper and has these, like, quirky little, like, how he talks is very, gentlemanly, and, which is weird because Madison doesn't talk like that, and neither does Jasper, not around the kid. So she's like, "I just let him do what he wants to talk that way, he can, and if he wants to," because she's like, "I remember when I was a kid and my mom tried to, like, beat this out of me," for the lack of better words, although I think she did get spanking sometimes. Um, and she just held on even harder to her quirkiness. So she's like, "He'll grow out of it, or he won't. It's fine. I'll still love him." Fast forward, kids, I'm just gonna say, the twins are fighters. They are fighters. When they first meet Lillian, she's trying to be all cool, like, "I'm gonna be the cool, like, babysitter," like, and she's trying to get their trust, and she's telling them all the stuff that they wanna hear, and they're slowly getting closer. They're in a pool because of their issues. And then they're slowly getting closer, and, the girl, cannot remember her name right now, but she was like, "Here, help me out." And so Lillian reaches down to pull her out, and the girl bites her hand so bad that it's, like, swollen, and later, um, Carl is, like, doctoring it up, and he's like, "You should have waited for me." And she's like, "It's not that bad, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, it should be fine in a few days." And she goes, "It's not like they have rabies." And he goes, "Mm, yeah, probably not." But she's like, "Wait, do I need a rabies shot?" Because she's never been around kids before, so she doesn't know. But her and Carl's relationship is really great. But she gets on the kids' good side that day after she stays with them, even though she's been bitten and scratched, and she's held on to this little girl that's on fire, and even though she pulls her down into the pool to cool her off. And she hears herself go, "I'm trying to be your best friend, stop." And she's like, "Yeah, I feel like a nerd." um, the kids were homeschooled, but their mom was very biased on stuff. And because of their dad, she didn't teach them pretty much anything except to read. And then they weren't allowed to read certain things. And they knew some math, but they didn't know the math that they should know at their age. And so Lillian has to like try to get them to learn, and they do like they end up doing a really good job um catching up and trusting Lily to teach them. Cuz she's like, "I'm not a teacher, but I can get you through a few things." Like so she like has some workbooks, and she like, "We're going to learn about this state and that state," and so it was pretty great seeing that um after the kids have their meltdown because they don't know how to do math. I think they're trying to multiply. I think they were trying to multiply and they didn't know how. Um it was interesting. I mean, like, it was because their mom was like, "Yeah, I'm homeschooling." But she was like, I can't remember what she said about why they weren't allowed to learn math or something. Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but it was like it was really weird. It was like, that's not a good reason. Um, yeah. So the kids had a really hard life before they met Lillian, before they came to the two-story beach or pool house that's been turned into a normal house on the estate of a mansion. Um, but throughout the whole book, sometimes she talks like the Lillian, the main character, the narrator, talks like she's telling someone this story. And I'm like, well, what happened to the kids? Oh, also the best part, so when Jasper, their dad, is supposed to be sworn in or whatever nationally on television, um, the Jasper and Madison wanted the kids to watch it on the TV. So they had the TV hooked up and they were watching it, and it was like blah 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 blah. And so they had muted it for a while because it was just all of the before stuff. And then it finally got to Jasper's part and she unmuted it, and you watched Jasper and Madison, and they had the toddler with them. And they had met him a few times, and he was very interested in them, and he liked them. And he had asked some questions about them. Anyway, so they were walking. That you see them walk across the screen, and as they're going through all of this, like Madison and the kid are back a little bit, and then Jasper's doing his talking. Yes, no, I promise to do this, and all of that stuff. And then there's a popping sound, and the toddler in Madison's arms catches fire, and she drops him. I was like, it's Jasper's lineage. All of them catch fire. It made me happy, and like, because up until now, anytime it was brought up by Jasper or Carl or Madison about the kids catching fire, it was from their mom because Jasper just was too perfect. Like, so when this toddler catches fire on national television and the kids see it, they start smoldering, and Lillian's like, outside, 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 outside. Because she doesn't want them to catch the house on fire, for one. And because there was a sprinkler system, like they had a whole sprinkler system put in for the for this purpose. But Madison was like, "If you have" like, he was like, "That way the whole house doesn't go up in flames," is what Carl said, and she's like, "So everything's just gonna get wet and moldy, and then we'll have to rebuild the house from start anyway." And he was like, "Oh, true. Okay." Um, my eye is really itchy today. I was outside yesterday a lot. Okay. Anyway, so the kids are outside dancing, flames coming from them, and Lily has enough time to finish like she catches the end part of Carl jumping like into the frame of the TV and like patting, like he threw his jacket over and is like patting the kid out, and then they rush him to a car, and before they even like think of anything, um, there was a bunch of starch in the kid's outfit, and the sun must have hit like made a beam and it sparked that way. I was like, people believe so, like for real though, people would believe that. Um, anyway, and this is the part that I was like, Jasper sucks. Because they drive straight back from I don't remember where to where. They like they drive straight back. Oh, while the kids are dancing and like catching all fiery, like woo, like now they have no clothes because their clothes have caught fire and they're gone. And Lillian's just sitting out on the patio, like watching them. Because what is she gonna do? And she looks across to the mansion and she sees the cook. I just said her name a few minutes ago, didn't I? Um, 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 Mary. And Mary's just sitting on the patio and she's smiling. She's watching the kids. She's like, and Lillian waves and Carla waves back and all of this stuff. And so a few hours go by and Lillian is like, "Did you know about the kids?" And she's like, "Yeah, I knew." And that's when you find out about the whole scene that happened when the little girl came up to her and asked for a sandwich, and that was the first time she had caught fire. And she got a healthy raise after that to keep quiet. And Lillian's like, "Oh, okay." And then sometime, a day or two goes by because they're um, Jasper, Madison, and their toddler with Carl are driving straight back. And when they get there, Madison is like, "I gotta get this kid inside. He was sleeping." And Lillian's like, "So what happens now? Like, what are we gonna do? What?" Jasper, Jasper is like, "Well, Carl was doing some research, and there's this facility that we can put the whatever the toddler's name is in for, better research. And since the two older ones, they can kind of control it now. They understand like when they start getting emotional, they can go and get in some water or do some breathing exercises or whatever. There's a there's a special school overseas somewhere that handles um kids with disabilities." And Lillian, me too. I was like, "You." My brain said the A word. Um, and I was like, that's why I put sucks instead because I was like, that's probably better in case my kid sees the writing. Um, but um, when Lillian hears this. She is like, "You will not send those kids away. You have done enough damage in their life." And she's like buffing up to him, and Carl's like, "Hey, hey," because the kids have walked in. They had been in the kitchen and with Mary, and they all came walking in with a little snack. And so they're hearing, and so Carl's now like trying to calm things down because the kids are here and you don't want to make them upset. And Madison is like, "What's going on?" Because she just comes down after putting the kid to sleep. And Lillian is like, "Did you know about this?" And she tells what Jasper just said. And Lillian's like, "I will go and get him right now, and we will stay with my father. And I don't like my father." And so she goes running upstairs to, or she's about to go up the stairs, and the kids start catching fire, and they start, they're so upset that they just start like, boop, boop, like touching things to set it on fire. And Jasper shoves Lillian into a coffee table, and she gets a gash on her forehead. And um, she pushes him back, I think. No, he like shoves her, and then she shoves him, and then he shoves her harder, I think is what happened. Anyway, and so when she's like, "Ugh," trying to stay awake, and Carl got Jasper out of the house. Um, Madison got the toddler, and Carl hands Lillian some keys and says, "Take the kids and leave. Take the kids and leave." And they drive they drive away for a while. Or they go and grab some clothes and then drive away for a while. And then they end up back at her old house with her mom, and mom is like, "You always will come back." Her mom made me so angry. Her mom shouldn't have been a mom. Anyway, and yeah, so the end of the book was had a happy ending. Carl showed up because mom got a phone call and was like, "Hey, if you know where Lillian is, give us a call and we'll pay you." And so he shows up the next day. They're sleeping, and they're all like intertwined on the bed because kids don't know how to sleep normal. And and he's like a weird face. He's like making like this. To me, I feel like it's probably I can see all together. It's so cute. And she wakes up, she's like startled. She's like, "Ugh." And he's like, "Hello." And she's like, "What?" And he's like, "Madison wants to talk to you." She's like, "Is she here?" Like, gosh, like this room is a mess because she didn't clean before she left. It's all dusty. Been gone for 3 months. And so she talks to Madison on the phone. Like, he takes the kids downstairs, and she talks to Madison on the phone for a little bit. And Madison pretty much is like, "Jasper will still be their kids. I mean, and will still be their dad. I will make sure that he pays for all of their stuff, and they get to see him on holidays, like all." She's like, "But I think it would be better if do you want them? Would that make you happy?" And obviously she says yes because it's a happy ending, kind of. Who knows what happened to those kids afterwards? So she says yes, and there's gonna be money deposited into her account like ever so often, I guess. And so it ended with them playing basketball. She took them down to like neighborhood basketball court, and they started playing basketball. And she was like, "Do you want to stay with me?" And the question is reversed. Do you want us? She's like, "Yeah. Yeah, I do." But I'm still like, the way it ends is like, and that's how I had 2 kids that caught fire. Like, kind of like, who are you telling this story to? Me? Are you telling this to someone? Are you telling this to your grandkids? I'm so concerned at who she's talking to and what happened to the kids afterwards. I need a part 2. Um, Also, there is a scene where, Lillian and Madison talked about their feelings after drinking quite a bit. Um, I'm not gonna lie. And they're they're on the porch of the mansion, and the kids are being watched by they're sleeping by Carl, and it's late, and they were drinking and eating something, chips or something like that. And Lillian confesses, she's like, "I was in love with you. I might still be in love with you." And Madison doesn't say anything, and kind of she's like, "Well, I'm with Jasper." Like, and they have a whole moment. I don't think she might say I love you towards the end, but it's not an I love you like I'm gonna be with you, I love you. It's more of a like a, I love you. I really love you. I love you guys. Kind of like a love you as a family. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but it's not what Lillian wants. So that is nothing to see here. And I know I rambled a lot. I told a lot, but I didn't tell everything, and I jumbled stuff up just to make it confusing for later. Um, this was on my 2025 reading challenge. This is my adult challenge. Um, Trying to think. I'm gonna deem this a safe book because, well, okay. There's no adult content in this book, or adult relations. There you go. There's no adult relations in this book. They do share a bed, but it's not. I'm like, they just cuddle. There's drug use in towards the beginning of this book, but it's just hinted at like twice. Um, there's the suicide and almost, oh my gosh, it still like hurts me to think about. Like, um, yeah, I thought it was a good book. I definitely recommend it if you can get past that one scene. After that, it's a pretty good I mean, it's a good book, like, I'm gonna change it to a 4-star. 4 book, 4 book, 4-star, whatever. But yeah, so there's that. I have another on this. I have some more videos, that's off of this coming. Um, the Kiss Quotient will probably be the next one that I record. Hopefully I can get that one up soon. And then I'm almost done with Once Upon a Broken Heart. So that'll be up soon. Um yeah, and then we have the preteen teen reading challenge. that I'm working on. I haven't really been working on this one. I do have Nightmares by Jason Segel, but I haven't really read it yet. It's got a bookmark in it, but I didn't start it. And then the Paper Pie Reading Challenge, I'm reading Lightning Girl slowly to my kid. So we're about halfway through. Um, we don't read every night. Some nights are rougher than others. So if you want to do a reading challenge with me, I will leave the link for the Google Docs for these in the comment section. I will leave links for the books. The on Amazon, I have the adult book challenge and the preteen teen challenge all on one list. You can click it, and it has like you don't have to like be like, oh, now I have to search this book, okay, and now I have to search this book. This way, the list you can just be like, add to cart, add to cart, add to cart. Whenever you decide, if you decide you're going to do this challenge with me, and then the Paper Pie Reading Challenge is through the Paper Pie website, and I will leave that too. I do get a teeny bit of the portion when you buy from Amazon, and part like a fourth. I don't know how much. I'm not good with math. Of the Paper Pie sells. And if you just want Nothing to See Here by Kevin Wilson, I will have that linked first down below. So you can be like, I want the Kindle one, and you can click right on it and it'll take you straight to that. I don't know what else to talk about. Oh, I know what I'm going to talk about. I think next year, because I know I'm already thinking about next year's reading challenge. Next year, I'm going to choose half of my reading challenges from the books on my shelves, and then half from my big TBR that I don't have list. That way I can start reading those books again. Cause some of the books I've read and some of them I haven't, and now I'm just like, maybe I should go through all of them and see what I've read and what I haven't read. So that is my plan. I'm gonna start working on that for next year. I'm thinking of doing a homeschool curriculum type video. I don't know for sure. It's not really like curriculum. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna do that yet. And I don't know. I don't know. Okay. That is all I have to talk about, and I will see you on my next video. Bye.